Mrs. Baumgarten, do you mind sitting down with us and answering a few quick questions?
Sure, that's fine.
After listening in on what you had to say during the trial to defend your client, how were you possibly able to find a way to relate Daphne Jones's dilemma to another case?
Well, believe it or not, another woman, Clara Murphy, was put in pretty much the same situation as Daphne and chose, just like Daphne did, to sacrifice the one person in order to save the other 5 on the tracks.
Wow. Do you think the jury will come to the same decision that they had in the Clara Murphy case?
Well, it's hard to say because the decision is fully based off of the decision of the jury. You have to take into account everything from how each juror is feeling to the morals of each individual. Any of these factors could change the final decision of the jury, but in general, I feel like most juries will tend to be utilitarians, meaning that they favor what will benefit society most, which means that they would support Miss Jones' decision.
That's definitely a good point. For a juror in this case, do you think you'd let Miss Jones walk or have her prosecuted for her actions?
Ha! I wish I could give you an answer, but we both know that would compromise my position as Miss Jones' defense attorney. Let me ask you the same thing. How do you think you'd sway in this case?
I'd probably have to say that I'd want to put her away, just because of the fact that she played fate and involved herself in the situation, making her guilty of murdering Chet Farley in my eyes.
That's the other way this case could go, which I'm fully prepared to handle.
Do you think the district attorney has any evidence that could lead the jury to convict your client?
Honestly, I don't think so. I feel like Miss Jones made a common sense decision that most people could sympathize with and understand. The district attorney is going out of his way to try and portray an innocent woman as a cold-blooded killer, which is anything but the truth.
During your response to the district attorney's comments on your client, you cited the famous philosopher St. Thomas Aquinas. Could you please explain to me how his philosophy relates to this case?
Sure, of course. Aquinas came up with the principle of double effect, which says that a morally good act may have some unintentional and bad consequences. Miss Jones's choice is a perfect example of this philosophy at work. Regardless of whether she chose to save the 5 people or save the single person, her decision would come to death, an obvious negative consequence.
Interesting. Do you think that there is any validity in the district attorney comparing this case to that of Dr. Mapes?
No, I think they are completely different. Dr. Mapes was a sick man who went out of his way to harm his patients, while Daphne was completely the opposite. I feel like this is a completely irrelevant piece of information fed to the jury to try and distract them from Miss Jones's innocence.
Last question. What do you think is your greatest argument that will stand out and help you win this case?
I think that to the jury, this case feels as if Miss Jones wasn't deliberately trying to cause harm to anyone, but rather to make a quick, in-the-moment decision that unfortunately resulted the way it did. That is why I think that my client is innocent of manslaughter and shouldn't even be tried for murder.
Well, I guess we'll have to see what the jury thinks after everything they've heard from both sides. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck to you and your client.
Thank you. Have a nice night.